Hey guys, guess what it is? It's Sunday Slowdown. I know you thought you weren't going to see me today, but I've been at an all-day conference and it just ended not that long ago. And so I wanted to stick to my word for my regular Sunday Slowdown with you guys. And so here I am. And so to start us off this Sunday, to help us slow down, we're just going to do a couple of relaxation exercises. We're going to take a couple of deep breaths. So take a deep breath and let it out. And let it out. So hopefully that'll relax you a little bit. Maybe you got your space right, got a little ambiance. And we're going to get back to the publication that, let me put it on an angle so I guess that you can see the title better. And that's what we started reading last week. For you, just because you're very special to me. And so we're going to pick up where we left off. And the funny thing, if you watched last week's video, I couldn't remember. I thought one of my girlfriends had given this to me. And after I gave it some more careful thought, I really think I was the girlfriend that gave it to myself, because I work at Hopkins and we used to, years ago, get a book fair that would come every 6 months or so, and I always went, and I think I remember getting this purchase for myself. Like I told you last week, I'm very good at encouraging myself when I feel down or what have you. I'll do little things to pick me up. I may, like I said, send me some Sherry's berries. I've sent me edible arrangements. And I get stuff like this publication for me, because the first person that should encourage you is you. When you look in the mirror, you want to have some positive affirmations to say back to that person that's staring at you in the mirror. And so here we go. We're going to pick up where we left off last week, starting with this is your reminder. So let's see what that has to tell us today. It says, every time you glance at this book, whether the day has been pleasant and easy or difficult and demanding, I want this to be your reminder that your presence in the world is always a wonderful thing. You are so deserving of every happiness I can possibly wish, and I constantly find myself thinking of you and wishing you knew about the smiles you inspire. And so, that's it. We don't know each day when we wake up what it's going to be, what it's going to bring. We don't know if it's going to be an easy and pleasant day or a difficult and demanding one. But regardless, you are wonderful, you are special, and you need to remember that about yourself. And so I want you to come home to these words in all the seasons ahead. And I want you to feel a glow in your heart just from knowing that you never ever have to wonder if you're in someone's thoughts or if there's anybody out there who truly and lovingly appreciates you, because this book is always going to be here to tell you how much I did. Now, isn't that a positive thought? To know that even when you feel like nobody else cares, if you pick up this book or remember just this section that we just read, that there is someone out there that does. And so let's go to our next story. And this one is entitled, Do You Know How Important You Are to Me? I know you probably wonder from time to time what you mean to me. So I'd like to share this thought with you to tell you that you mean the world to me. Think of something you couldn't live without and multiply it by 100. Think of what happiness means to you and add it to the feeling you get on the best days you've ever had. Add up all your best feelings and take away all the rest, and what you're left with is exactly how I feel about you. You matter more to me than you can imagine, and much more than I'll ever be able to explain. And so, if you apply this principle to you right now, you may be going through a disease process and feel like nobody understands, nobody gets what's happening. Regardless of what stage it is or what have you. But when you think of this information and you apply it to the you see in the mirror, then there's always someone that's there to encourage you. Because if you think of these positive things, positive feelings, good feelings that you had on your just most spectacular day, to recall those things to your mind on those days that you're feeling down and blue. That will help build you up and encourage you to keep going forward. And so if you keep recalling the good as opposed to letting the bad override it, then that will help you to, one, be a more positive thinker, two, to really help negate some of the effects of your disease process, because the disease processes feed on negative energy. And so if you are forcing and training your mind to think positive, to be positive, to think of good affirmations, that's bringing positive energy to help counteract the negative vibes that come from having to go through a disease process. So just keep that thought in mind. And so our third story for today, this is going to be an interesting one. It's called 24 Things to Always Remember and One Thing to Never Forget. Your presence is a present to the world. You're unique and one of a kind. Your life can be what you want it to be. Take the days just one at a time. Count your blessings, not your troubles. You'll make it through whatever comes along. Within you are so many answers. Understand, have courage, be strong. Don't put limits on yourself. So many dreams are waiting to be realized. Decisions are too important to leave to chance. Reach for your peak, your goal, your prize. Nothing wastes more energy than worrying. The longer one carries a problem, the heavier it gets. Don't take things too seriously. Live a life of serenity, not a life of regrets. Remember that a little love goes a long way. Remember that a lot goes forever. Remember that friendship is a wise investment. Life's treasures are people together. Realize that it's never too late. Do ordinary things in an extraordinary way. Have health and hope and happiness. Take the time to wish upon a star. And don't ever forget, for even a day, how very special you are. Wow, this was a really good story. Had a lot of positive things to think about. I want to go back to something that stood out to me when it talked about count your blessings, not your troubles. And so that is definitely something we can do, even if you literally have to jot it down on a piece of paper. Because if you're dealing with a disease process and handling all the information that's coming at you from your providers and different things that you have to do, sometimes you lose sight of those blessings that are in your life. But write them down, jot them down, literally do a count on them so that you can see those blessings can outweigh the trouble. And then it says you'll make it through whatever comes along. And you have to have understanding, you have to have courage, and you have to be strong. And so, and another important thing that I thought this story highlighted was take days just one at a time. When you're going through a disease process, your mind is thinking end game. Most times when you hear you have a disease process like breast cancer, you automatically think of the worst. Take it one day at a time, because Early treatment has proven very successful with prognoses and helping individuals to live and survive breast cancer. And so it's not an automatic death sentence like it used to be years ago. With mammograms, early detection, all of these things, and the research that's out there are helping women to live with and to survive not just breast cancer, but all types of female cancers. And so don't go to the negative. Just try to take it one day at a time. Sometimes you have to take it one moment at a time in order to get through to the next moment. But in doing so, we want to remember whatever your thought was that you jotted down from this week's stories. Do you know how important you are to me? And again, remember that me can always be to yourself. How important are you to yourself? All right, that was story number 2. The first one was, this is your reminder, a reminder to remember how important you are and special. And then number 3, 24 things to always remember and one thing to never forget. Now, I guess if I were to ask you, what's the one thing you won't forget? Would you be able to say, and don't ever forget for even a day how very special you are? So that's where we're going to end out. Slow Down with Lynie today on Sunday. Well, it's actually going into Monday, but I was determined I was going to get this recorded. So again, the publication that we're considering is For You, Just Because You're Very Special to Me, and it's by Dotz Painting. And this was a reprinted edition from 2011. And at that time, it had sold over 3 million copies. And it's just very positive information. Just as important today as it was when Mr. Pagels wrote it. And so I hope you enjoyed today's session and looking forward to spending next Sunday with you at our Sunday Slowdown. Okay, let's take a deep breath. Let it out. Let's do one more. All right, we're nice and relaxed. Okay, see you next time.